Hello warriors, we must know that not all danger looks dangerous. Some people don't attack. They don't shout. They don't threaten. They stay close. They smile. They help. They listen. And slowly, they change who you are. This video is about 7 personality types that don't destroy your life instantly. They do it quietly. Enemy number 1, the silent destroyer. He does not shout. He does not threaten. He does not attack you openly. That is why he is dangerous. This personality type is called the silent destroyer. At first, he seems harmless, calm, polite, even supportive. He listens. He smiles. He makes jokes. But slowly, very slowly, something inside you begins to change. The silent destroyer never says, "You are weak." Instead, he says, "Are you sure you can handle this?" He never says, "You are wrong." Instead, he says, "I mean, maybe you're overreacting." These words sound soft, almost caring. But they are not. They are seeds of doubt. At the beginning, you brush it off. You tell yourself, "It's nothing. He's just joking. I'm being sensitive." And that is exactly what he wants. Because the silent destroyer works in the shadows. He uses casual comments, friendly jokes, accidental remarks. "Wow, you're brave to speak like that. I could never be that confident. Don't take this personally, but..." Every sentence has a small hook. A hidden needle. You start questioning yourself. Your decisions feel heavier. Your confidence feels fragile. Your voice becomes quieter. And you don't understand why. Around other people, you feel fine. But around him, you feel smaller. That is the key sign. The silent destroyer never destroys you alone. He needs your cooperation. He makes you doubt your memory, your emotions, your instincts. You stop trusting yourself. And once that happens, he wins. Here is a simple example. You share an idea, something you worked hard on. He pauses, smiles, and says, "Interesting. I wouldn't think like that, but, okay." No insult. No attack. Yet your excitement dies instantly. Next time, you hesitate to speak. Another example. You confront him. You say, "Something you said hurt me." He looks confused, calm, almost innocent. "Oh, wow. That's not what I meant at all. You always misunderstand things. I guess I have to be careful around you." Suddenly, you feel like the problem. That is manipulation without aggression. The silent destroyer avoids conflict. He avoids responsibility. He avoids exposure. Because his power depends on being unnoticed. If you call him out publicly, he retreats. If you ask direct questions, he changes the topic. If you demand clarity, he becomes vague. He wants confusion, not resolution. Over time, the damage becomes visible. You apologize more. You explain yourself too much. You feel anxious before speaking. You replay conversations in your head. Again. And again. And still, You can't point to a single clear attack. That is the trap. The most dangerous part. The silent destroyer often believes he is not doing anything wrong. In his mind, he is just being honest. Just joking. Just saying his opinion. But impact matters more than intention. So how do you protect yourself? First, trust patterns, not words. 1 comment means nothing. 10 comments mean something. Second, notice how you feel after interactions. Drained? Smaller? Doubting yourself? That feeling is information. Third, stop explaining yourself. The more you explain, the more power he gains. And finally, distance. Because the silent destroyer cannot operate without access to you. He needs time, proximity, and your silence. Take that away, and his influence disappears. Remember this. Not all danger is loud. Not all harm is obvious. Some people don't break you with force. They break you, one quiet doubt at a time. Enemy number 2, the good person. He is always polite. Always calm. Always correct. He listens carefully. He offers help. He says the right things at the right time. Everyone calls him a good person. And that is exactly the problem. Because his kindness is not free. At first, he feels safe, reliable, comfortable. He helps you without being asked. He supports your decisions. He stands on the right side. But slowly, a pattern begins to appear. Every favor has weight. Every act of kindness comes with an invisible receipt. He never asks for anything directly. He waits. And one day, he reminds you. After everything I've done for you, I was there when no one else was. I expected more from you. Suddenly, help turns into leverage. The good person does not control you with fear. He controls you with guilt. You feel obligated. You feel indebted. You feel ungrateful if you say no. That is how he gains power. Here is a simple example. He helps you during a difficult moment. Listens. Gives advice. Supports you emotionally. Later, you set a boundary. You disagree. Or you choose something he doesn't like. His tone changes. Not angry. Not loud. Cold. I guess I was wrong about you. I didn't think you'd treat me like this. I wouldn't do that to someone who helped me. You feel shame. Even though you did nothing wrong. Another example. He is generous in public. Kind in front of others. Always looks ethical. But in private, his kindness becomes conditional. As long as you are agreeable, he is warm. As long as you are useful, he is supportive. The moment you become inconvenient, his kindness disappears. No more help. No more warmth. No more patience. And you realize something disturbing. His goodness had rules. And you broke them. The most dangerous part. The good person hides behind morality. If you confront him, he becomes the victim. Wow. I was just trying to help. I guess being kind is a mistake now. People really take advantage of me. And now you look cruel. That is emotional manipulation. Disguised as virtue. The good person needs to be seen, As good. Not to be good, but to be seen as good. That image protects him. It gives him moral authority. It gives him excuses. It gives him control. Over time, being around him feels heavy. You hesitate to say no. You feel pressure to please. You suppress your needs. Not because he forces you, but because you don't want to be the bad one. And that is how he wins. So how do you protect yourself? First, separate kindness from obligation. Real help does not demand repayment. Second, watch what happens when you say no. A healthy person accepts it. A manipulative one punishes you. Third, do not argue about morality. You will always lose on his battlefield. And finally, remember this. A truly good person does not keep score. Because when kindness has a price, it is no longer kindness. It is control. Enemy number 3, the mirror. At first, it feels unreal. You meet someone, and they understand you perfectly. Same opinions. Same humor. Same taste in music, movies, ideas. It feels like fate. This personality type is called the mirror. He reflects you. Your words become his words. Your values become his values. Your style becomes his style. You say something. He agrees. You believe something. He believed it first. At the beginning, it feels comforting. Like being truly seen. Finally, someone gets you. But slowly, something feels wrong. Too perfect. Too smooth. Too familiar. The mirror never challenges you. Never disagrees. Never brings something truly new. Because there is nothing there. No solid core. No stable identity. Only reflection. Here is how it starts. You share a personal story. A belief. A wound. He listens intensely. Asks questions. Learns. Later, you hear your own words. Coming back to you. Not quoted. Reused. Same phrases. Same emotions. Same conclusions. At first, it feels validating. Then, it feels disturbing. Another example. You change your mind about something. Your opinion evolves. Suddenly, his opinion changes too. No hesitation. No process. Like flipping a switch. That is not growth. That is copying. The mirror does this to create instant connection. Because similarity creates trust. And trust creates access. But connection without individuality is an illusion. Over time, you notice the emptiness. Ask him a deep question. He answers. But says nothing. Ask what he wants. He wants what you want. Ask who he is. He describes you. That is when it hits. You are not in a relationship with a person. You are in a relationship with your reflection. And reflections cannot support you. They cannot lead. They cannot ground you. They cannot take responsibility. When conflict appears, the mirror breaks. He avoids clear positions. He adapts. He disappears. Because standing for something requires an identity. The mirror slowly erases you. When everything is reflected, nothing is affirmed. Your uniqueness fades. Your edges soften. Your sense of self weakens. You start questioning. What is really yours? Your thoughts? Or his? Your choices? Or his influence? That confusion creates dependency. Because when identity blurs, control becomes easy. So why does the mirror exist? Often, behind him, is deep insecurity. A fear of rejection. A fear of being nothing. So he becomes everything you want to see. But authenticity cannot be borrowed forever. Sooner or later, the reflection cracks. So how do you protect yourself? First, watch for disagreement. Healthy people disagree naturally. Second, ask personal questions early. Clear answers reveal real identity. Third, notice how you feel. Inspired? Or slowly disappearing? And finally, remember this. Connection without individuality is not intimacy. It is absorption. And when you look into the mirror long enough, you may forget who you were before the reflection. Enemy number 4, the moral judge. He never raises his voice. He never insults you directly. He doesn't have to. Because he always knows what is right. This personality type is called the moral judge. He lives by principles, rules, standards. At least, that's what he wants you to believe. He speaks calmly, reasonably, with quiet authority. And slowly, you begin to feel wrong. Not because of what you did, but because of who you are. The moral judge does not attack. He evaluates. A look. A pause. A sentence that sounds harmless. I would never do that. That's an interesting choice. I guess we all have different values. No accusation. No argument. Yet shame appears. Here is how it works. You share a decision. Something personal. He nods. Thinks for a moment. And responds. Well, if that's what you believe is right. The sentence ends politely. But the message is clear. You failed a test. You didn't know you were taking. Over time, this happens again. And again. And again. You start editing yourself. Your words. Your desires. Your choices. Not because you agree with him, but because you want to avoid that feeling. That quiet discomfort. That invisible disapproval. Another example. You make a mistake. A normal, human one. He doesn't comfort you. He teaches. This is why people should think ahead. This could have been avoided. I hope you learned something. No empathy. Only superiority. The moral judge positions himself above you. Not loudly, but consistently. The most dangerous part. He makes shame feel reasonable. You start believing you deserve it. You feel guilty. Without knowing why, you apologize for things that don't require apologies. You feel watched, measured, compared, and somehow always lacking. And if you confront him, he stays calm. I'm not judging. I'm just being honest. I care about doing the right thing. Now you look defensive. That is his shield. Morality becomes a weapon. When it is used to control, not to guide. The moral judge needs to feel superior. Because without that position, he feels small. So he stands on values and looks down. Over time, being around him changes you. You lose spontaneity. You lose joy. You lose self-trust. You start living carefully, cautiously. Not to grow, but to avoid judgment. So how do you protect yourself? First, separate values from worth. A choice does not define your value. Second, notice chronic shame. Healthy relationships do not create it. Third, refuse the courtroom. You are not on trial. And finally, remember this. Someone who truly lives by values does not need to make others feel small. Because real morality does not humiliate. It elevates. Enemy number 5, the emotional minefield. One day, he is warm, present, close. He listens. He touches your soul. He makes you feel safe. The next day, he is gone. No explanation. No message. No eye contact. This personality type is called the emotional minefield. With him, you never know where to step. Everything feels fine. Until it doesn't. There is no clear rule. No warning sign. No pattern you can trust. And that is the point. The emotional minefield controls through unpredictability. Today, he rewards you with closeness. Tomorrow, he punishes you with distance. You start walking carefully, choosing words, replaying conversations. What did I do wrong? Was it something I said? Should I apologize? But there is nothing to fix. Because the explosion is random. Here is how it happens. You share a moment of connection. A deep conversation. A feeling of safety. Then silence. Hours. Days. When he returns, he acts normal. No explanation. No acknowledgement. If you ask, he minimizes. I'm just busy. You're overthinking. It's not a big deal. But inside you, everything is shaking. Another example. You finally feel close again. You relax. And suddenly, coldness. Short answers. Dry tone. Distance. You panic. You try harder. You give more. You shrink yourself. That is how anxiety replaces security. The most dangerous part. Your nervous system adapts to instability. Calm starts to feel boring. Chaos starts to feel familiar. You become hyper-aware. Reading moods. Scanning for danger. You stop living in the moment. You live in anticipation. Waiting for the next explosion. And when it happens, you blame yourself. Because he never takes responsibility. I never said everything was fine. You're too sensitive. I didn't change, you did. That confusion keeps you trapped. Enemy number 6, the weakness collector. At first, he feels safe. He listens carefully. Asks deep questions. Remembers everything. You open up. Your fears. Your doubts. Your past mistakes. This personality type is called the weakness collector. He creates intimacy. Fast. Not to support you. Not to protect you. To gather data. He nods. Empathizes. Says the right words. You can trust me. I would never use this against you. And you believe him. Because he feels attentive. Present. Understanding. But his attention is not empathy. It is surveillance. Here is how it works. You share a fear. Something vulnerable. He responds with care. Comfort. Reassurance. The moment passes. You think it brought you closer. Later. Much later. During conflict. He changes. The tone becomes sharp. Precise. And suddenly. He mentions that fear. Casually. Accidentally. I guess this is why you're so insecure. No wonder you always mess this up. That's exactly what you were afraid of, right? One sentence. Direct hit. He doesn't scream. He doesn't lose control. He strikes. Where it hurts most. That is not anger. That is strategy. Another example. You once admitted. You fear being abandoned. During an argument. He says. Relax. I'm not leaving. Pause. Unless you keep acting like this. The threat is subtle. The wound is deep. The weakness collector keeps a mental list. What you're ashamed of. What breaks you. What makes you doubt yourself. And when he feels challenged. He uses it. The most dangerous part. Afterwards. He denies intention. I didn't mean it like that. You're too sensitive. I was just being honest. But honesty does not aim for maximum pain. This behavior destroys trust at its core. Because vulnerability becomes a liability. You stop opening up. You hide parts of yourself. You feel alone, even when close. That isolation is power. The weakness collector doesn't want to resolve conflict. He wants to win it. At any cost. Over time, you become guarded. Silent. Tense. You measure every word. Every emotion. Because anything you share can be weaponized. So how do you protect yourself? First, watch what happens during conflict. That is where truth appears. Second, notice precision. Random insults are different from targeted wounds. Third, limit access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves your vulnerability. And finally, remember this. Someone who truly cares will protect your weak spots. Not store them for future attacks. Enemy number 7, the future thief. He does not stop you by force. He slows you down. This personality type is called the future thief. He sounds reasonable, careful, concerned. Take your time. There's no rush. Now is not the right moment. At first, it feels protective. He wants you to be safe, prepared, responsible. But slowly, your life stops moving. The future thief never says, "Don't change." He says, maybe later. He never says, don't risk. He says, let's wait until things are more stable. And that wait never ends. Here is how it happens. You talk about a dream, a move, a new path. He listens, nods, and adds doubt. Are you sure now is smart? What if it fails? You have so much to lose. They sound like questions, but they function as brakes. So you pause. You delay. You reconsider. And life stays the same. Another example. You feel unhappy, stuck, restless. He comforts you. Everyone feels like this sometimes. It's just a phase. You don't need to change everything. And the discomfort fades. Just enough to keep you still. The future thief thrives in comfort. Not your comfort. His. As long as you don't move, nothing around him has to change. Your dreams are inconvenient. Your growth is disruptive. So he frames stagnation as wisdom. Over time, you lose urgency. The fire fades. The hunger softens. You stop asking, what if? You start saying, maybe one day. Years pass quietly. No drama. No explosion. Just time slipping away. The most dangerous people are rarely obvious. They don't break you at once. They don't push you off a cliff. They keep you close. They drain you slowly. They take pieces of you, one by one. Confidence, time, identity, future. And when you finally notice, years are gone. So remember this. Pay attention to how people make you feel. Not what they say. Not who they pretend to be. Because real danger is often silent.